Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And hope you're having a great start to your day. And wait for a few folks to come on. Hi, Rosalinda, and someone else, Maria, I saw. Good morning, Fran. How are you? Nice to have you on, Rosa. And I hope you're having a great start to your day, Michael and John from Illinois. Erica, good morning. Kim from Timmins. Nick from our staff. Mary and Chantal, Ottawa. And Ashley, good morning. Claude, how are you? Fran and Adeline. Bernice, good morning to you. We appreciate you guys coming on. Louise, good morning. And Zian, good morning. From Rainville, Evelyn, Rosemary, Julie, Flo, couple more and we'll get started. Janet, good morning. Aylmer, Quebec or Aylmer, Ontario? I think there's two. Laurie, good morning. Another Mary, Cape Breton. Jeanette from our staff. Yvette, Micheline. Deb, good morning from Nova Scotia. Laurie, and another Marie, but from Alberta. Good morning, Alberta. Our dear friend Doc. And Dr. McEwen said, even in West Tennessee, it's a little chilly. I guarantee it's not as chilly as it is here in Ontario. Ruth, good morning. Calgary, good morning. Chantal, Mary Ellen, Lise, and Colleen from Wheatley. We appreciate Maria, another Maria. Okay, here we go. Guys, tomorrow, okay, I'm just giving you a heads up about tomorrow, okay? Because tomorrow we're really going to look at, there's a new study that came out on vitamin D here. I just want to correct this a little bit. There's a new study that came out on vitamin D. Guys, Viderma, it's incredible. It's incredible. And so I'll bring that to you tomorrow because I just saw it and I haven't had a chance to unpack that study and just to break it down. But guys, I'm telling you, it's headlines. It's headlines. And it's fascinating. Viderma, new study. I mean, literally hot off the presses because it came on the weekend, I think. It was actually presented in Warsaw, Poland. Yeah, hot off the presses, guys, on a new study on Viderma. It will blow you away when we talk about this. Okay, now, I have been talking, a big part of my practice, okay, a big part of my practice, and I probably told you this 1,000 times, but I just want to do a little bit of a teaching on this morning, is motivation, okay? Because, you know, if you don't, change, if you need, people need to be challenged to change, right? And for, in my office, for example, when I saw people that were in deep trouble, I mean, obviously, most people didn't come because they wanted to, oh, you're Dr. Martin, I'd like to meet you. No, I didn't come for that. They had problems and they wanted those problems fixed. And of course, right? But, and, Jeanette and Nicole would tell you, they worked with me for years, that a lot of people, I just, I could sense that, oh, Doc, I thought you were going to give me a pill. Like, I don't want to change. They didn't really say it like that. They didn't say, well, I don't want to change. But you can almost tell, I could read people and I could tell they weren't buying it. Like, nah, you're over dramatic or whatever, right? And like for me, I'm a big guy on change. What was I reading this morning here? I just want to, it sort of struck me here as I get to this, but I kind of like this because it growth. Okay, here's a statement that I read this morning, and I just jotted it down. Growth only happens with a challenge. Challenge brings change. I like that. Without change, we're going to deteriorate. And we're going to deteriorate physically, mentally, and spiritually. Okay, so that's the quote I read. Okay, so let me read it to you again. Growth only happens with challenge. Challenge brings change. That's what I used to do. I used to challenge people. Challenge them. Give them the problem. Here's your problem. And then I would challenge them to fix it. I never sent a patient home ever without a dietary change. Sometimes supplements, but I never sent a patient home that I can remember without some kind of change. So I challenge them. Growth only happens with challenge. Challenge brings change. And without change, we're going to deteriorate. Okay? And so I always try and make the case with just about everybody that everybody, we live on a planet, we live in a world that, nutritionally, most is devoid of nutrients, most food, because people are eating crappy carbohydrates and that. And I know I always, maybe you get tired of hearing about diet, but guys, that is your foundation of change. The foundation of change is your diet more than anything else. Yeah, exercise, but you can't out-exercise. Listen to what I'm going to say. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. You can't. You can't out-supplement a bad diet. You can't out-medicate a bad diet. You just can't. And so I'm a big guy, and I always was, on motivating people to change. I do that too, even spiritually, to change. Okay? And, but I just want to give you some tips. I'm just going to go over some of the ways that I would motivate. I like I said the other day, I was talking to a friend, and I was, teaching him the reset. I was explaining it to him. And I said, I promise you, I'm going to give you a copy of my book. You're never a prophet in your hometown. People, kind of laugh about it. the Reset is such a popular book, but a lot of people, what are you talking about again? A lot of people in my hometown, Sudbury, they don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the key to change is to start. One of the biggest things, and I knew it in my office, the biggest thing was motivating people to start. One of the things that will crash is a failure to launch. You need a start. I remember with my diabetic patients, I'd say, listen, man, you're going home and you're going to start tomorrow. Day one's tomorrow. Not next week. Tomorrow. I want you to start. A failure to launch. That's what, people, they get so depressed and so down. We talked about depression yesterday. The Netflix syndrome. People are caught. Guys, listen to me. People today, more than ever, are caught in a rut. They're in a rut. They're depressed. The numbers just show it. It's incredible. And, diets have gone by the wayside. Exercise, well, the gyms were closed. Okay, I'm talking about Ontario, okay? I'm telling you, even today, right throughout the pandemic, it always bothered me because, gyms were closed. That drove me crazy. The very thing that was needed. Because like I've always said to you, quit focusing on the virus. There's always going to be viruses, always. And you know me, I always talk about the immune system. I don't care. No matter what, you still doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You need an immune system. Your immune system needs to work, and we emphasize that. One of them is vitamin E, exercise. But people are in a rut. The Netflix syndrome, people have put on weight. I mean, the average is, what are they saying in Canada? Something like between 11 and 29 pounds, or it's incredible. We were big already. But here we go. And the unintended consequences are incredible, what's going to come out. So again, let me say this. A failure to launch. Start. Have a start date on the Reset. I like when people come into the private Facebook group and tell others they're starting tomorrow or whatever they're saying. So I'm going to start. Any tips? Yeah, the tips are keep going. Accountability. It's good. Like if you put your name in there and actually, look, you're a private person. I get that. But you need accountability. You see, in my office, people were accountable because, we followed up. I tell people, look, your life's going to change, man. I'm challenging you, but it's going to change. And they were happier in a sense that because I was going to keep them accountable to it. Hey, listen, if you put your trust in me, I'll keep you accountable to it. There's going to be some great changes occurring, but you got to start. So the key is starting. Guys, I can't emphasize again how important the Reset is. There was a study that came out. I read another study, and maybe I'll spend time on it in the next little bit. Another study with when you change your diet, the changes it came out of New Zealand, and yeah, I haven't even unpacked it yet. I just saw the headline. A headline out of New Zealand is, even with people that have Alzheimer's, if you can change their diet, not easy, you can imagine. But early Alzheimer's, they change their diet. There's some real big improvements. Guys, let's be honest, like food's everything. In medicine, food is nothing, but food is everything. You want a lifestyle change? The biggest thing that sidetracks that is a failure to launch. So get started. Persistence. Persistent. Be persistent. Look, guys, nothing is ever going to be perfect. The reason that I set up a 30-day program, why did I make it 30 days? Well, there was a lot of reasons. One of them, the main reason for the 30 days, it takes just about 30 days. Especially if you've been a carboholic, sugar lover and whatever, it takes 30 days for your cells to become insulin sensitive. Do you know what I mean by that? Because the problem we talk about every day is insulin resistance. Your cells, at the cellular level, your cells, it's almost like they develop a coating and your cells are resistant to insulin. They hate it. Don't come near me. But insulin is a pesky neighbor. They're going to come by no matter what. If you insist on eating carbohydrates and sugars, okay, then insulin has a job to do. I teach you that, teach you that, teach you that. Insulin has a job to do. It'll come by the cells because it has to open up the cells to let sugar be stored, okay? And, your cells, it's going to come by. It takes approximately 21 to 30 days to change that, to get rid of insulin resistance at the cellular level. Now, right from day one, things will get better, but you want to implement the change. And what a change it is. So number one, you need to start. Number two, you need persistence. You know what? Because we read it all the time in the group. And I used to see it all the time in the office too. And that is, Doc, man, I don't feel good on day 2 and day 3 or day 6 or I didn't think it was going to be that hard. Now remember, I've never said the reset is easy. I've never said that. It's simple. People can't get over the simplicity. I had a doctor yesterday send an email. They sent an email to us. What is Dr. Martin's credentials that he would have such a drastic, what did she use the word? A different word than drastic. I can't even remember what it was. It was like a crazy diet. Well, you know what? I know I'm going against the grain, guys. I know that. I've been on the planet a long time. This goes against the grain. It's not easy, though. It's not easy going without carbohydrates for 30 days. It's not easy to go without sugar for 30 days. It's very difficult. Very difficult. But you need to start, and you need persistence. Persistence. You get a day or two that, oh, doc, like I'm lightheaded even. You're changing fuels. Your body is going through a dramatic change. And the old you is hanging on. It doesn't like change. It will like it. But you got to get to it first. You got to get to that change. Okay? So, again, it's not easy. Anything, guys, look, let's be honest. This is just a big, it's an observation of life. Anything worthwhile is not easy. Right? You work at anything that's, you don't get a successful business without being a hard worker. Like, it doesn't happen by osmosis. You don't get a successful marriage without hard work. True or false? Come on. You want to raise kids? It's hard work. Right? It's every day. No days off. Mom, did you ever get any days off? No, not really. Yeah. Is it worth it? Of course it's worth it. And you see, for me, that's really important. That's really important. Look, you're going to lower your carbohydrates. Every study, I can show you study after study, thousands of them. Your foundation is food, and when you change fuels, when you go to eggs, meat, and cheese, like even yesterday, there people come on the group and they go, well, calories are important. They believe that. No, they're not. It's not calories. It's fuel. There's difference. Not all calories are the same. That is the food industry that taught you like that. Oh, you go to a restaurant even, and they'll have it in brackets, a lot of restaurants, how many calories you're eating in that meal. Right? Yeah, but that's the food industry, guys. That's not reality. That's not how your body operates. It depends on what fuel. I was, last night, okay, I actually was standing outside with an open fireplace. And there were some people standing outside, and it was a cool evening, and it was a real nice evening, and they had a fire going, and I was standing there. Now, some of those people didn't know me. Otherwise, I would have started preaching. I would have showed them an illustration from that open pit fire. It was beautiful. They were not burning paper. They weren't. They weren't burning even twigs. You know what they were burning? Had a beautiful fire, nice heat, dark. Get the scenery? They were burning logs. They were burning logs, and they were just burning and burning and burning. And guys, when I talk to you about eggs, meat, and cheese, the reason I do it is because there are logs on the fire. They are logs. It's fuel for you to burn energy. When you eat, you're getting energy from food. If you insist on eating carbohydrates and sugar, your energy will be high calorie, but it doesn't matter. It will just burn off like you would not believe. You're not going to get the proper fuel from that. It's instant. Yeah, you get a little buzz, but it's not going to last. See, any change, guys, is worthwhile. It's a change. You don't want to have a failure to launch. Do it. You got problems. Do it. You got inflammation. Do it. Because what insulin does, okay, so you use that pancreas secreting insulin. I always use I show you, and I'm showing it here this morning on our live. I'm showing a ballpoint pen. It's the size of your pancreas. It releases insulin. But the amount determined, how much insulin you use, is determined by how much carbs you're eating. And the least amount of insulin that you use, the better it is for your body. Choose better fuels. Persistence. Start. Persistence. Anything worthwhile. Keep going. And here's another important tip. Always see the end. Look towards the end. Look at it. You gotta have, I'm big on goals. Okay? Look at the end result. Say, I'm gonna get there. Okay? Challenge, it's a challenge. But I'm determined, man. You know me in the 3Ds. Desire, that's good. Determination. I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish. I need to finish. See the end. I'm big on that. I remember reading a story about a guy in the concentration camp in World War II. He was a Jew in, I think it was in Warsaw. I think he was in Poland. He was in a concentration camp. And he wrote this, that what kept him alive was he was looking. In his mind, he said, my goal is I'm going to live so that I can tell people what happened in the concentration camps. He said, my goal. And he said, that was such a burning desire in me that I was going to live so that I could tell people the atrocities of what happened here. He said, I was determined to live. He said, that's what kept me going. Because he said it would have been so easy to give up. The conditions were so bad. And people just lost hope. They gave up. And, I use that as a motivation for people. You got to see the end. I remember in school, in the 70s, and they said, the first day, the dean comes up to us and says, 50% of you will not graduate. 50%, so half. It's exactly what happened, by the way, too. We started with 150 students, and half of them didn't make it. We graduated 75. And I remember, I'm telling you like it was yesterday. I mean, that was a challenge to me. I looked on one side of me and then the other. I didn't know these guys, these gals. And I said, well, I'm graduating. I don't care about the other people. I don't know them, but I can tell you, as for me, As for me, there's a verse in the Bible that says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And I said, as for me, I'm going to graduate. You see, again, it's determination, desire, determination. And guys, listen, if you have a bad day, never lose sight of your goal. Okay? It's your birthday. Okay? And you know, because you know me, I want to teach lifestyle. It's your birthday. Okay? And you want to have a piece of cake. You know what, guys? Don't die over that. You know what I mean? Like, if you go backwards one day, I'd rather you not do it during the 30 days, because this is really important for all the reasons that we talk about. But if you have you see, one of my goals in the reset is to get you into a lifestyle after. And I'll tell you, almost 99% of the people, I mean this, 99% of the people that do the reset, 6 months, a year later, 2 years later, are still eating a low carb lifestyle. They might have repeated the reset, but very few, they don't go off that wagon. You know, they might have a couple of days where they're not eating as good, but it's amazing. See, one of the things that I want people to do is get into a lifestyle of low carb eating. Not no carbs. So after the 30 days, it's not no carbs anymore. But it's amazing what you do, even with your taste buds. When you're not consuming sugar, your body changes. It enjoys the new fuel. And then when you have a crappy day, I don't feel so good. Yeah, your body's screaming at you. It's saying, why are you doing that to me? Why are you doing that to me? I liked it when you were eating no carbs. So, it's amazing. Your body, once it changes fuel, guys, it's incredible. It's incredible. So, lifestyle changes. Don't have a failure to launch. If this is speaking to you this morning, then let us know that you're ready to start the reset. We'll pump your tires up. You get in that private Facebook group, it'll pump your tires up. Because people are just like you. And, they put their struggles and they put their emotions and they put their things in, and we encourage one another. We provoke one another to keep going. It's worth it. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to look at that vitamin D study. It's an analysis. Unreal, guys. Unreal Viderma. Oh. Okay? Friday's question and answer. And are you a member of the private Facebook group? Invite your friends and family. We love to have them join us. Are you getting our newsletters? We send out today the Fabulous 5 supplements that we like. We sent out the webinar that we did, a couple of weeks ago? Okay. Where we had thousands on with us. It was incredible. Thank you for that. Okay. The Reset book, it's available. Okay. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Give them a gift. Give them the gift that they can change their life. Okay? Okay. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.